What's going on, guys? RBG here, back with another video for Man PS5 Miles Morales. Just want to give a big shout out to everyone who tuned into my breakdown on the announcement trailer. I wasn't expecting the big turnout, but it reminded me why I do what I do, which is express why I love these games so much. But enough with all the mushy stuff. Insomniac Games hit the ground running last week with 2 PlayStation 5 exclusives, and while Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales garnered most of the attention, it raised a lot of questions. Is it an extension of the first game, and will it be available on the PS4 as well? We got the confirmation that this was in fact a standalone game that will focus its attention on Miles as he comes into his own with his newly found spider powers. It took a while for Insomniac to go into full details on what this title would entail, but now we have more solid answers. According to the creator-director Brian Horton, this game will be roughly the size of Uncharted 4 Lost Legacy, which since its release has become an industry reference point for talking about the scope and length of narrative expansion games. He says, and I quote, "We know a lot of you want to know how big this game is. Our team at Insomniac has been working incredibly hard to bring you a fantastic Miles Morales adventure since we concluded development on Marvel Spider-Man. You'll experience a full story arc with Miles, one that's more akin to the game like Uncharted The Lost Legacy in terms of overall scope. Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales is an important, heartfelt, emotional, and essential experience to expanding the Marvel Spider-Man universe, and we hope it'll be for you as well." So that pretty much answers your question regarding what kind of game this will be. An expansion that will be half the size of its predecessor. If you played the game on the normal difficulty without trying to complete everything, Marvel Spider-Man clocked in roughly around 20 hours, and considering the fact that most of Insomniac's games are about 10 hours long, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales seems to fit right in with their motif. I have no doubt that this game is going to give us a bang for our buck and undoubtedly give us a hefty amount of side missions to give us more to do. My biggest concern is that this game could potentially ostracize players who are interested in playing it. Like, the hype for this game is through the roof, but not everybody is going to have the cash to make that next gen leap. If you remember back when the first entry was receiving a lot of buzz for being this big AAA Spider-Man game, fans who only owned the Xbox One weren't too thrilled that it was going to be a PS4 exclusive. And I pretty much broke it down into layman's terms. Marvel Entertainment made a partnership with Sony, and Sony spent their own money to publish and advertise this game. It wouldn't make sense for it to be available on the other platforms if Sony is footing the bill for everything. Like, you gotta remember that they had a massive marketing campaign for Marvel Spider-Man. We're talking consistent appearances at E3, special edition consoles, extensive coverage from Game Informer. Like, Sony went all in with the way they were bringing awareness for this game, as opposed to someone like Square Enix, who hasn't necessarily done a good job at promoting a game like Marvel's Avengers. And it's probably because they don't have that corporate pull like Sony does. But yeah, that's the biggest reason why Marvel Spider-Man was only available on the PS4. With that said, I don't think Miles Morales should be exclusive only to the PS5 because the game is an expansion. I mean, yeah, it's good that we're getting a decently sized narrative Spider-Man game featuring an all-new character, but it's all being worked around the same engine that was used to power the first game, just with a few improvements. We already knew going in that it was going to feature things that would take advantage of the PS5's hardware. The devs have said that they made this game to demonstrate the power of the PlayStation 5 and how Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales will show off instant near loading times, ray tracing, 3D audio, and DualSense controller. They even updated the city assets to take advantage of the PS5, which is evident from the footage we see where New York is covered in snow. But I can't help but feel like this game should also be available on the PS4 as well. If anything, they could just release a less powerful version on the last gen and make it to where the next gen version gives you the full technical experience. That's what I loved about this era, where we have the standard PS4 and the PS4 Pro. We're able to get all the minor improvements if we play on the Pro as opposed to the standard PS4. And if they were to do this for Miles Morales, not only will we get these improvements, it would be greater, no pun intended. Because we're not dealing with the typical checkerboard 4K resolutions here. We're finally getting the full native 4K experience on the PS5, and any PC gamer who's been fortunate to experience that knows that it's a big difference. We're dealing with a lot of power with the new graphics system and SSD that's going to give us insanely fast loading times. But considering what this game is and how they'll essentially be a more complete sequel in the form of Marvel Spider-Man 2, this game should definitely be available on the PS4. Sony would make a killing if it was available on both platforms. Like, if a game has 2 versions, you already know a good majority of the fans are going to want to go for the superior one. But that's just my 2 cents on that. I am still happy that this game will have its own unique flavor, like the different style of web swinging compared to that of Peter Parker's Spider-Man. And I particularly like how this game will be set in the winter, which is set in the same time as the actual release date. But anyways, even though fans are excited about getting this full-on experience with Miles, they're still concerned with the whereabouts of Peter Parker. In my breakdown video, I mentioned that he could be off somewhere in another dimension since in the Spider-Man comics, he leaves Miles with the responsibility of being Spider-Man while he's gone. It would make for an excellent explanation if Insomniac ever chooses to adapt it in the games. But then again, that story is so far out there that I don't know if they'll want to elaborate on it. Not to mention that they probably don't want to ride the coattails of Into the Spider-Verse too much. So they might just say that Peter is somewhere out in Symkaria, since that's where Mary Jane said she was going at the end of the City That Never Sleeps DLC. It's a very dangerous country, so I can't see Peter letting MJ go there alone. Many fans have also come up with the theory that he could be in San Francisco aiding the Avengers in their upcoming game. There were a few Easter eggs from Marvel's Spider-Man that mentioned that the Avengers were establishing their new tower in the West, and Marvel's Avengers takes place in San Francisco, so there are certain elements in both games that could allude to Spidey making an appearance in Avengers. But I don't think that'll be the case, since the Western Avengers is a story that's been done in the past. Not to mention that it's still too early to do a Marvel expanded video game universe. Crystal Dynamics is still trying to establish their version of the Avengers, and they probably don't want to have an insanely popular character like Spidey outshine them. Maybe in the later sequels they'll begin creating some connective tissue between both games, but now just isn't the time. They already have the tie-in comics that are called the Gameverse, which is known as the Earth 1048 in Marvel Spider-Man comics. But anyways, a couple days ago, Brian Horton teased the return of Peter Parker in a post made by PlayStation Blog. He mentioned that Peter would absolutely be making a return for another video game adventure in the future, saying, and I quote, "Oh, and one last thing, many of you fans have wondered if Peter Parker is okay. Don't worry, we still have much of Peter Parker's story left to tell. But this game is all about Miles, a critical part of our Spider-Man universe, and you won't want to miss what happens." So yeah, it was obvious that they weren't going to kill off the original Spider-Man. Although he's a very seasoned version of Peter who's been the wall crawler for almost 10 years in this universe, we're just now getting introduced to him and he's got a lot more challenges to overcome. But anyways, Brian Horton went on to note that the series creative director Brian Entail has a lot in the works for the Marvel Spider-Man universe, saying, and I quote, "It's been great to also work with Brian Entail, who directed the first game, as he continues to imagine big things for the Marvel Spider-Man universe. And Marvel Spider-Man 2 is more than likely going to include even more features than the first game and this upcoming Miles Morales game combined. And I think it's very smart of Insomniac to bring a creative director on board for Miles' game while the other director for the first game will work on Spider-Man 2. It's going to make both games feel very distinctive from one another. Not to mention that Insomniac already has their hands full with other projects like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Now that they purchased Insomniac, Sony is going to utilize their power, and they most likely expanded the studio with more staff. And with Spider-Man Miles Morales on the way this winter, it's safe to say that we won't be seeing Peter Parker until late 2021 or early 2022, as some of the leaks suggested. We'll be getting a hefty dose of Spider-Man nonetheless. Anyways, the last thing I want to talk about is the Miles Morales announcement trailer's sudden disappearance. When it was originally uploaded on the official PlayStation YouTube channel, it got an enormous reception, and in typical fashion, other content creators, including myself, uploaded the trailer as well. The trailer had over 10 million views and was trending the entire week on the PlayStation channel, but a couple days ago it mysteriously vanished. So people were wondering what happened to it. And apparently the trailer was removed because of a copyright claim made by the French game publisher Gameloft. Which is the most confusing thing because Sony Entertainment is a pretty big company and they usually don't have this issue like your average content creator such as myself. Like, even though I've re-uploaded the trailers to my channel and used it in my commentary, I haven't been hit with a copyright strike at all. But for some reason PlayStation has, and apparently Gameloft already has a contract in place with Marvel, and they've worked on a few mobile games such as Spider-Man Toxic City and Ultimate Spider-Man Total Mayhem. And some sources have suggested that the Miles Morales trailer may have featured something that violated the contract that Gameloft had in place with Marvel, thus prompting them to flag the video. This explains why the trailer is still up on the Marvel Entertainment YouTube channel, because they're the company allowing Gameloft to produce mobile Spider-Man games. But it absolutely sucks that PlayStation is having to take their video down, which was the most viewed version of the trailer. But then again, I'm pretty sure Sony is lawyering up and will get this issue resolved soon, and they'll proceed on with their marketing campaign for Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. But anyways guys, I believe I've highlighted everything pertaining to this game, and now I want to highlight the best way you can protect your online identity. It may come as a surprise to some of you guys, but internet service providers are legally forced to collect data on your browsing habits in case the government needs it, and more times than not, that data is sold to third-party advertisers, allowing them to constantly target you with their annoying ads. That's why I've linked up with NordVPN to make sure this never happens to you. With NordVPN, all the data you send and receive online travels through an encrypted tunnel, so you can safely browse on public Wi-Fi or any other network while shielding your private information from criminals. This thing even allows you to watch shows that aren't even available outside of their native country. By simply using the app, you can change your IP address to connect to servers in other regions of the world, thus granting you access to Netflix shows and movies that aren't even visible in the US. So download NordVPN now. It's available on popular platforms such as Windows, iOS, and Android, and you can secure up to 6 devices. By clicking my link, you get 70% off your 3-year plan plus a free additional month. It'll be provided in the description and be pinned in the comments, or you can use this special coupon code as seen on the screen. But anyways guys, what do you think of this news? Are you bummed that this new game will only be available on the PS5? And what do you think Peter Parker could be up to? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, I ask you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down. Any feedback is good feedback and will only help me improve on future videos. But if you really enjoyed the video, it would help me out tremendously if you shared it with all your friends and followers on social media. Sharing really makes a difference. But once again, this was your boy RBG signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.